and a warm welcome to everybody. I'll just take you through an overview of our BA Creative Writing programme at Brunel University, London, and as Claire said, there'll be opportunity to take questions after the presentation. You can see there the email address english-admissions@brunel.ac.uk. Feel free to email us any time of the night or day with questions about the course. So some numbers first. Top 10 in the UK creative writing at Brunel University, London, according to the Guardian League table as of June 2015, and we were ranked in the top 15 in the UK for overall student satisfaction in the NSS, the National Student Survey. The NSS also places us first in London for academic support, organisation and management. At Brunel, we like to work with you to make you the best writer that you can be. So we can't magically make you into a brilliant writer, but we can coach you and give you the support that you need to prepare your creative writing portfolio and progress through our program into graduation with a novel, a collection of poetry, screenwriting, whatever you're interested in pursuing. The teaching methods that we use during the 3-year course, primarily lectures which are delivered by staff members and hourly paid lecturers who come in from the industry. So we have book publishers, screenwriters, poets, broadcasters who all come to campus and give us their insights. Seminars follow on from those lectures. They're broken into smaller groups of say 10 to 18 students, and we workshop weekly writing work with our peers in groups of 4 or 5, and sometimes we work in pairs and one-on-one with our tutor. There's also a variety of further reading, wider study that you'll do as a student here at Brunel, all supplemented by the Ask Teams program of academic skills workshops which run via the Brunel Library. We actively seek your feedback during the course, and each module has a module leader who will listen to your suggestions, feedback and any concerns about your studies. In addition to those module leaders and a subject head, you will also have a personal tutor who will be assigned to you in the first year of your BA and will stay with you regularly through weekly meetings in year 1 and then in an on-demand basis during level 2 and level 3 of your degree. And all our members of staff hold regular office hours so that you can meet with them and discuss your work in progress and any concerns that you might have. A quick overview of that 3-year program of study. You'll be studying single honours creative writing, 3 compulsory modules during your first year across 2 terms, concurrently with 2 English modules, because we believe that as creative writers we should be close readers as well as effective creative writers and communicators. As you go into year 2, you're going to experiment a little more, and you'll be able to choose modules such as Intro to Screenwriting, genre fiction, journalism, and this will build on your grounding from level 1, which takes you through the basics of poetry writing, short fiction and writing for dramatic performance. And then into level 3, this is where you really start to specialise in your chosen field, and your big project here is of course your dissertation. You'll be writing in a creative writing discipline, so you can choose poetry or a collection of journalism or short fiction, maybe linked by a character or a specific theme. We've also had the beginnings of novels and standalone novelettes or novellas, and also screenplays that have ranged from children's animation, family-friendly films right through to political thrillers and TV series pitches. So there's a lot of variety for you to choose from. before you graduate. A couple of our success stories here. Katia Wellings-Thomas, one of our joint honours games design with the creative writing students, now works with King, who make an app called Candy Crush. You may have heard of that one. And Wayne Holloway-Smith, whose first poetry collection was nominated for an award, now teaches at Brunel and is currently undertaking a course in study for his PhD in creative writing here. We aim to get you published before you graduate, so there are a number of opportunities around this. Each year we produce an anthology of students' creative work, which is curated and edited by the students themselves. We also have a social media presence called Brunel Writer, which takes the form of a blog, which is updated and edited by the students themselves, a Twitter feed and a Facebook page. We have a number of internship opportunities, so we work closely with magazine publishers like Dennis Publishing, film production companies like Mediant International, and events and other avenues such as the London Screenwriters Festival, which runs in the autumn of every year. We've had successful internships there, and some of those internships of course lead to full employment on graduation. We also have a vibrant arts community at Brunel University London, so the Arts Centre is often host to a variety of performances, plays, short film screenings, all written by our brilliant Brunel creative writers. So that's it from me. If there are any questions, please jump in afterwards or feel free to email anytime. There's a link there for our YouTube video for some further information about the course and what we do here at Brunel, and do feel free to follow us on Twitter. The Brunel Writer hashtag and presence is updated on a daily basis. Thank you for listening. And now over to Elizabeth Evendon.
Hello there. Quick moment whilst we change chairs. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Evendon. I'm the admissions tutor for English, and I also inevitably teach in the department, and I am an early modernist. So that means you'd get me for Shakespeare. So this will be now 10 minutes of me just telling you how much Shakespeare rocks, frankly. But let's go for this. So, English. What can I tell you that is on a comparable rate to what Fraser has already just told you? Well, we will reiterate that we're 10th in the UK, thanks to the most updated Guardian University Guide. So always good to remember what rankings are, as we're always reminded of them, even if you don't remind us of them. What do we do? How do we do it? What you really want to know is what you're going to experience when you're here. So, dynamic teaching methods. Fraser's taken you through these a little in terms of there's one where you all get to stare at us in lectures. We do all the work. Then we follow these lectures up with seminars, which can be working in pairs, small groups. Generally, for English, these will follow the theme of that week's lecture. So you get the chance to hear our erudite wisdom at the front of the room, and then we get to hear yours. So you'll have had the chance to prepare for the seminar in the previous week. And the seminars are the great point where that week's topic for study becomes that two-way street where we fully explore the materials together. Workshops of various kinds throughout your degree with English. I'm going to come to this in a moment to give you an example of the type of workshops that I run with students. And I also very much lay an emphasis, as do my colleagues, on independent study, in particular what we call guided independent study. So you can have sort of weekly, or sometimes they'll run over 2 to 3 weeks, mini topics where you're thinking through a particular topic at length, and you'll be given guided materials to help you work both on your own and with your friends on the course in exploring those individual topics separately from the classwork, so that it's not merely you turn up for a lecture and a seminar and then you forget about the subject the rest of the week. We prompt you to keep those discussions going throughout the week, and you learn that responsibility of individual supervision. Fraser mentioned this earlier, that in responding to feedback, This is not one of those ticking boxes exercises that it may sound like, of please tell us how you feel, and then we go thank you very much for that and ignore it. We don't. One of the things I'm particularly proud of we do here is that this is a genuine staff-student engagement relationship that you discover throughout your degree. One of the things I've been doing with my Shakespeare students this year is we don't set the exam until we see what the cohort is like, what the student interests are. Yes, there is an exam on this module, but that's nothing like a school exam. What we do is a discussion of what people have been particularly interested in when they've done coursework, when they've gone on workshops. And so unlike school, this becomes a two-way relationship where we are working against the clock on a short-term deadline in areas in which they are engaged. So it's a moment to shine, and it really becomes feedback, becomes a basis of really understanding how processes work and how to get the best out of you throughout your degree. So feedback is genuinely something that's really important for both sides of the student-staff engagement. In terms of teaching excellence, well, it's not just those lectures and those seminars. One of the things that I mentioned earlier was the fact that you can go away and do workshops as well. These do come in from year one. In year one, we build up your academic skills. So there's 3 compulsory modules that run from October to March, whereby we ease you out of everything you thought you knew at school, and we take you that little bit further and we extend those academic skill ranges. In the second year, you get to choose 6 out of 8 options for modules, and one of which is my Shakespeare one. See, I told you I'd come back to Shakespeare. And just to give you an example of the type of workshops we do, my students, we all go off to Shakespeare's Globe at Bankside, so they get the opportunity to actually stand on the stage at the Globe and work out how these plays were performed. So they're actually in the learning space, and every single one of them this year, when they realise how close that audience is and how you write in order to respond to an audience, it becomes a completely different learning experience. They also have the chance to blog about what they're working on. So up on the screen is the address to the blog where you can see what they've been learning as an example of a course that is run through lectures, through seminars, through guided independent study and through workshops. And my group this year are also, because it's the 400th anniversary of Shakespeare's death, we are also creating documentaries about Shakespeare. So we have an excellent media teaching centre here whereby students can learn fabulous IT skills. So my groups have had state-of-the-art HD cameras, they've learned editing suite skills, and they've been going around leaping up in front of people with cameras and asking them about Shakespeare. And this has been good preparation for their year 3, just to take you through a little more on the study plan for your degree. You really get to customize your degree by the 3rd year, and you focus in on 4 modules plus a dissertation that are very much, you will have worked out by this point where your interests lie. So for me, I knew I was escaping the 18th century novel because it was the worst thing on the planet. For you, that might be the best thing going, but by the time you reach your 3rd year, you've crafted where you want to be and you make it truly bespoke. And so obviously I'm really chuffed how many students want to do dissertations on Shakespeare. So just to recap there's the idea of how you build your degree. We're very proud of the fact that we have a wide range of topics available for study throughout your course. So some examples would be, I not only teach Shakespeare, I teach the Muslim world in early modern literature. So I look at the relationship on the stage and page between Christians and Muslims. You can do courses on sex and gender, lesbian literature, Irish literature, post-colonial theory, Victorians, Afro-American, the list goes on. I would take up all your afternoon if I told you all the available modules. But there is a tremendous wealth of choice available to you, and please do look on our webpage to find out further about the options available to you. Just to recap slightly on what Fraser said for creative writing, same stands for English. You'll be assigned a personal tutor. and you can really get the option, the ability to build up a relationship with that member of staff who you've got someone that you feel comfortable turning to at any point throughout your degree if you have concerns or anything that you want to talk about on a one-to-one basis. The same works for module leaders who are readily available to you for a total of 4 hours throughout the week. We're also fairly good at checking our email, and quite a few of us are savvy with Skype as well. So if I have students who for various reasons cannot always get onto campus, I'm always readily available to be able to Skype them in their pajamas if needs be. So we also offer workshops on careers and placement services. We can talk a little bit more about this in questions if you're interested. Though we very much are aware that you need to get a job at the end of your degree. So there is a constant sort of awareness of these aren't just, you're not going to sit around for three years languishing in a novel and thinking profound thoughts. You're going to languish around in the novel, think profound thoughts, and get a fantastic job at the end of it, hopefully. So we put very much an emphasis on transferable skills and how you are going to apply the skills learnt throughout your degree in the wider world afterwards. And again, oh, I have a little picture has moved over there. One of my students has moved into his quote. Oh, 2 of them have. That's the joy of reformatting when you move from computers. Suffice to say that our feedback is tremendously good. The chap that you can see in the middle there, whose quote the pictures haven't moved over to, Sam is an ambassador for the university and is a joy to work with in admissions because he does genuinely give us great feedback on how the course has gone. Each module, just to remind you, will always have a module representative who you can talk to and give feedback on your courses. And the feedback does back up what Fraser and I are just saying. We're not just sitting here making it up. We genuinely pride ourselves on great support for students, a great range of stimulating courses, different individual modules for you to take, and some very, very good data on where our students go afterwards. So we pride ourselves in an all-round package. So that's it from me from English. We're going to move into our session for questions now. So if you would wait one moment while we transition here. What we're interested in is if you have questions for us, if you could write them into the box on the right-hand side of your screen, we will endeavour to get back to you with answers as quickly as our moving between the mic and technology will allow.
Okay, so we have a question from Jamil, and his question is, if I decide to come to Brunel, I will be transferring into my 2nd year. Is there much to do around the Uxbridge area, and how often do you find yourself in central London? And I think that is a question for one of our students, and unfortunately we don't have a student here with us today, but we're more than happy to take that question away to one of our student ambassadors, Jamil, and we will get them to email you personally with some tips on where best to go in Uxbridge and in central London.
I think Fraser and I are a little too old for clubbing in London, but what I would interject is that I know that an awful lot of my students are regularly in central London. We actively run various events too. So for example, yesterday my students were at the Middle Temple of the Inns of Court doing very fun stuff there, and then they all organised themselves various trips to do in central London afterwards that were some academically related, others more relaxing related, I think would be fair to say. But yeah, absolutely, we'll make sure one of our student ambassadors gets back to you on that, Janine.
Are there any further questions from anybody else? Okay, well, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Oh, we have one more question from Jamil, and that is, what is the exam coursework ratio for English?
Yeah, I raised that word, didn't I? The dreaded exam. They're not scary. They are majority coursework. There are some courses that are also on portfolios where you get the choice to move between a whole variety of different types of work. So they are at a minimal, but again, whilst that word was brought up, I stress that they are nothing like anything you do at school. They are very much not here to trip you up. They are not formulaic answers that we're looking for. In many ways, I think we should just drop the word exam because everybody thinks it sucks. Nobody likes the word exam. All my students think about it about working on a short-term deadline. So they know exactly what is coming, and it's about working at speed. None of it is to trip you up. So they all know that we work to a format that is bringing out the best of you. And for example, with Shakespeare, because that's what I teach, so my examples are coming from it, they all know that they're getting extracts to discuss, or and we use a lot of images on our course, so there'll be an image to respond to. And so everything is hidden in plain sight with you. They are not frightening, but we are still a majority coursework. I choose to include it because I actually think we get really, really good work out of the students when they do short-term deadlines. I see we have another question that's popped up. We have a question saying, how many sessions should we expect during an average week? Fraser, for yours?
Yes. Well, if you're doing 3 modules per term, for example, then you could expect to be on campus for 3 weeks. 3 days out of the 5 working days, and this is generalizing, but it changes from module to module. But your sessions would be broken up into lecture, seminar, and workshop, or practical sessions. So you would have, for example, a 1-hour lecture and a break, and then a 2-hour seminar following up on that lecture, which would include some in-class writing exercises, dramatic readings of material. Sometimes in screenwriting modules, for example, that's one of the areas I specialise in. We have table reads of student scripts, so we get together and we perform the scripts together so that they're not just languishing on the page, but they get performed and we can hear the dialogue spoken and see where to best make improvements. Practical sessions will usually last 45 minutes to an hour. They'll be on modules such as Intro to Writing Drama, where we have voice and acting coaches come in and work with our students to again get their performance pieces off the page and into the performance space, and those sessions are always incredibly popular. And similarly, on a module such as Writing Comedy, you might have a single 3-hour session on one day, broken up by tea and coffee breaks, of course, where you'll have an introduction to that week's topic by a guest lecturer, and then your regular module tutor will come in and workshop with you during the seminar, and then as part of that, during the final weeks of the module, you'll do some stand-up comedy performance based on the material that you've written yourself. And on Professor Benjamin Zephaniah's performance poetry module, there's a similar dynamic where across a day you'll have an hour workshopping material with Benjamin, you'll have a one-to-one tutorial with him, and then there'll be some time set aside to perform your own work and rehearse your own work.
Yeah, so it's comparable for English as well. I mean, it's slightly how long is a piece of string, because it depends what modules you take in what terms. But by way of example, for the courses I teach, it will be a 1-hour lecture. Certainly for our level 2, currently it's a 1-hour seminar, and then our workshops are up to 3 hours with that break in the middle. And we also have screenings occasionally, so sometimes in the early evening we'll sit around cinema style and eat far too much cake and eat far too much popcorn as well. But yeah, I think that 3 days in doing stuff is a good benchmark to think on that one.